The sun rose over the planet Althera, painting the sky with soft shades of gold and pink. In the heart of the kingdom, the royal gardens glowed with life. Exotic flowers swayed gently in the morning breeze, and fountains sparkled in the sunlight. Birds with metallic feathers sang melodies that echoed through the palace walls. It was a peaceful morning, but peace is fragile, and today it would be tested. Princess Lena walked along the garden paths, her fingers brushing against the petals of bright red and blue flowers. She was small but determined, with eyes that shone with curiosity. She loved the gardens because they reminded her of home, but she often wished to explore more of the stars. Her mother, Queen Mira, had always told her that she must stay safe until she was ready to take on the responsibilities of the kingdom. "Lena, remember to stay close," a guard called softly from behind the hedge. Lena nodded but did not stop walking. She enjoyed the quiet and the warm sunlight. Birds flew overhead in elegant arcs, their feathers catching the light. Lena reached a small fountain and sat down, dipping her hand into the cool water. She smiled, feeling the calm of the morning. Suddenly the sky darkened. Lena looked up and frowned. A shadow passed over the garden, moving too fast to be a cloud. In the blink of an eye, strange ships appeared in the sky, hovering silently. Their designs were unlike anything Lena had ever seen. They were sleek and black, with sharp angles that reflected the sun like knives. "Guards!" Lena cried. The soldiers ran into the gardens, drawing their energy blades. But it was too late. The ships had already released strange beams of light that surrounded Lena. She felt herself lifted off the ground, unable to resist the pull. She tried to scream, but the sound was swallowed by the hum of the hovering ships. From the palace, Queen Mira heard the alarms and rushed to the garden. Her heart froze when she saw Lena disappear into the sky. "No!" she shouted, tears filling her eyes. Guards tried to fire at the ships, but their weapons had no effect. The ships vanished into the clouds, leaving the garden in silence. The fountains continued to sparkle. The birds resumed their songs, but the princess was gone. Inside the royal command center, Queen Mira stood trembling. She watched the holographic screens showing the last known location of the ships. "Who could have done this?" she whispered. Her voice was steady but filled with fear. The kingdom had faced enemies before, but none had the technology to strike so suddenly. A transmission tone echoed through the room. A human soldier appeared on the screen. His name was Leo, and he was a member of the interstellar peacekeeping forces. He was known for his bravery, skill, and clever mind. His uniform was simple but marked with the emblem of the human alliance. His face was calm, but his eyes showed determination. "Queen Mira," he said, "I received your distress call. I will find Princess Lena and bring her home safely." Tears welled up in Mira's eyes, but she nodded. "Thank you, Leo. Please hurry. I cannot bear to lose her." Leo studied the data on the screen. The ships had advanced cloaking devices, and they moved faster than most vessels in this sector. But Leo was not one to give up. He had faced worse situations and had always found a way. He activated his starfighter and set coordinates to trace the last known path of the alien ships. Meanwhile, Lena was inside a strange chamber on one of the alien ships. The walls were metallic, glowing with a soft green light. She sat on the floor, her hands tied with energy restraints. Her heart pounded, but she tried to stay calm. She had learned from stories that fear could cloud the mind, and she needed to think clearly. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice firm despite the fear she felt. The alien commander stepped forward. It was tall, with dark skin and glowing blue eyes. "You are the Princess of Althera. You are valuable. You will be taken to our leader. Resistance is useless." Lena looked around the room and noticed small panels on the walls. They blinked in a pattern she thought she could understand. She remembered her lessons in logic and puzzles. Maybe she could use this to her advantage. She pressed her hand against one panel and it lit up. The alien commander frowned. Back in space, Leo had reached the outskirts of the system where the ships had disappeared. He scanned the area carefully. "They must be hiding on a nearby planet," he muttered to himself. He had studied alien tactics for years. Most kidnappers relied on fear and traps, but humans were known for clever solutions. Leo believed that intelligence could overcome even the most advanced technology. He entered the atmosphere of a desert planet. The surface was rocky and barren, with jagged cliffs and deep canyons. Sensors indicated the presence of alien technology. Leo landed his starfighter in a hidden canyon and prepared his equipment. He checked his weapons, not to use them recklessly, but to be ready if the situation required it. On the alien ship, Lena continued to examine her surroundings. She discovered that one of the panels controlled the energy restraints. With careful movements, she managed to unlock herself. Her hands were free and she stood tall, feeling a small spark of hope. She realized she had to find a way to send a signal to anyone who could help her. She noticed that the alien ships communicated through pulses of light. Lena studied the patterns and remembered a code she had learned from the palace scholars. She tapped a hidden device on her wrist and sent a faint signal. It was weak, but Leo's scanners were advanced. He would receive it if he was close enough. As night fell on the desert planet, Leo followed the faint signal. He moved quietly, avoiding patrols of alien drones. The terrain was difficult, with sharp rocks and sudden drops, but Leo used his knowledge of physics and movement to advance safely. He paused to observe the alien outpost from a cliff above. The structures glowed with green light and he saw figures moving inside. Leo's mind worked quickly. He calculated the best path to reach the princess without being detected. He activated a small device that projected a holographic duplicate of himself. The aliens, seeing the duplicate, were momentarily confused. Leo took the opportunity to move closer to the target. Inside the alien compound, Lena crouched in a corner. She could see the shadows of the guards moving past her room. Her heart beat fast, but she remembered her mother's advice. Courage was not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. Lena held her small device tightly and prepared for the moment she would have to escape. Leo finally reached the entrance of the chamber where Lena was kept. Using a combination of stealth and careful timing, he disabled the security panel and opened the door. Lena looked up, surprised but relieved. "Leo," she whispered, her voice full of hope. "Princess Lena," he said calmly, helping her to stand. "We need to move quickly. Stay close to me." They moved through the compound silently. Alien guards passed by, unaware of their presence. Leo guided Lena carefully, using small gadgets to disable traps and open locked doors. Lena followed his instructions, realizing that humans had a combination of intelligence and bravery that made them extraordinary. As they reached the exit, a siren sounded. The aliens had noticed the breach. Lena's heart raced, but Leo remained focused. "Stay behind me," he instructed. He used his grappling hook to scale the walls, pulling Lena up with him. Together, they reached the outside. The alien forces were mobilizing, but Leo had already calculated the escape path. He ran toward his starfighter, Lena close behind. The alien patrols tried to intercept them, but Leo's quick thinking and understanding of alien behavior allowed them to evade capture. Finally, they reached the starfighter. Leo helped Lena inside and activated the engines. The craft lifted off the ground smoothly, leaving the desert planet behind. Lena looked down at the alien base shrinking into the distance. Relief filled her heart. As they traveled through space, Lena turned to Leo. "Thank you," she said softly. "I was so afraid." Leo smiled, his eyes kind but firm. "Fear is natural. Courage is what you do despite it. You have shown both today." Lena nodded, feeling a mix of gratitude and admiration. She realized that humans were capable of acts that seemed impossible. They could think, adapt, and act in ways that changed the course of events. In the royal palace, Queen Mira watched the screens anxiously. She prayed for Lena's safety, unaware that her daughter had already been found. Somewhere in space, a human soldier was guiding her home using intelligence, bravery, and compassion. The journey would not be easy, but hope was alive. The sun set over Althera, casting long shadows across the gardens. The fountains reflected the last light of day, and the birds sang one final melody. The kingdom was still, but change was coming. A human hero had entered their story, and nothing would be the same again. Princess Lena's adventure had begun, and the bond between humans and the kingdom of Althera was about to grow stronger. Courage, intelligence, and the strength of the human spirit were about to shine in ways that no one could imagine. The stars stretched endlessly across the black sky as Leo piloted the starfighter away from the desert planet. The engines hummed with a quiet power, and the cockpit glowed softly with lights that reflected on his focused face. Beside him, Princess Lena stared out the window, watching the alien base shrink into the distance. Relief had filled her heart, but the journey back to Althera was far from over. Danger could come at any moment, and Leo knew this well. Are we safe? Lena asked quietly, her voice trembling slightly. Leo shook his head, his eyes scanning the instruments. Not completely. The aliens are strong and clever. They will notice we are gone. We must stay alert until we are within Althera's protective orbit. Lena nodded, gripping the edge of her seat. She had learned to trust Leo in the short time they had known each other. He was calm, resourceful, and always thinking ahead. He had saved her life, and she felt a spark of admiration for him. Leo adjusted the starfighter's course. Sensors picked up faint signals in the asteroid belt ahead. We are approaching a dangerous area, he said. The aliens may have hidden ships or drones here. I need to navigate carefully. The starfighter moved with precision, weaving through large chunks of rock that drifted silently in space. Lena watched as meteors and debris passed close by, their surfaces glowing from the friction of moving through the thin atmosphere. She felt a shiver of fear and excitement at the same time. Leo's hands moved quickly over the controls. Every movement was precise. He used small thrusters to adjust the ship's path and kept an eye on the sensors for any signs of enemy activity. Suddenly, a warning light flashed on the console. Alien drones were closing in from the far side of the belt. They have found us, Leo said calmly. We must act quickly. The drones were small but fast. They darted through the asteroids like hawks, their sensors scanning for life forms. Leo activated the starfighter's cloaking module. The ship shimmered and nearly disappeared from view. He maneuvered between two massive asteroids, hiding the craft from the approaching enemies. Lena's eyes widened. How do you do that? She whispered. Leo smiled faintly. Observation and prediction. They are fast but predictable if you know their behavior. Humans can think in ways that machines cannot. The drones scanned the area, their light sweeping across the rocks. Leo waited for the right moment. Then, with a sudden burst of speed, he navigated through a narrow gap between two asteroids. The drones collided with debris, unable to follow. Leo exhaled quietly. That should buy us some time. Lena looked at him with admiration. You are amazing, she said softly. Leo shook his head. I am just doing my job. And learning about you has been just as important. Your courage helped me find a way in the alien base. You were clever and brave. That made my work easier. Lena felt a warmth in her chest. She had never thought of herself as brave before. She had always listened to her mother and followed the rules. But in the alien base, she had had no choice but to act. And in that moment, she realized that humans and their spirit were capable of extraordinary things. As they continued through the asteroid belt, Leo monitored the sensors. He detected a larger ship approaching from the distance. Its design was more advanced than the drones, and it radiated power. That ship is probably their command vessel, Leo said. We must avoid it. A direct fight would be dangerous. He plotted a course through a narrow canyon of asteroids, forcing the large ship to slow down to navigate safely. Lena held onto the seat as the starfighter twisted and turned with precision. Every second mattered. They had to reach Althera safely. While they navigated the obstacles, Leo activated a small scanner to monitor the alien ship. He discovered that it had energy shields, advanced weapons, and a tracking system. They are trying to find us, he said. We must make a distraction. Lena looked at him, puzzled. A distraction? How? Leo tapped a button on the control panel. A small probe detached from the ship and zipped toward the alien vessel. It emitted a series of signals that mimicked the starfighter's engine patterns. The alien ship focused on the probe, assuming it was the target. Now, Leo whispered, pressing the throttle. The starfighter shot past the alien ship, hidden in the shadows of the asteroids. The probe drew the enemy's attention far enough to allow them to escape. Lena let out a small laugh. That was clever, Leo smiled. Humans survive by thinking differently. We adapt. That is our strength. As they moved further from the asteroid belt, they entered a region of space filled with glowing clouds of gas. The nebulae cast soft colors across the cockpit, painting the interior in shades of blue, purple, and gold. The beauty of the galaxy amazed Lena, even in the midst of danger. Leo adjusted the shields and navigation systems. This region is tricky, he said. The gas can interfere with sensors. We must be extra careful. They moved slowly, weaving through the colorful clouds. Suddenly, the starfighter shook as a burst of energy struck it. Lena grabbed the edge of her seat. What was that? She asked, her voice trembling. The aliens found us again, Leo said, his expression serious. We need to act quickly. He scanned the instruments and noticed a narrow passage through the nebula. "Follow me closely," he instructed. He activated the boosters and shot the starfighter forward, dodging beams of energy that tried to hit them. Lena held on tightly, her heart racing with fear and excitement. As they passed through the passage, the alien ship fired one last volley. Leo calculated the timing perfectly and moved the starfighter just out of range. The enemy ship's weapons hit the gas clouds instead, creating a dazzling display of light and color. Lena gasped. "It looks like fireworks." Leo smiled faintly. "A small victory for now. We are closer to Althera, but the danger is not over." Hours passed as they traveled through space. Lena and Leo talked quietly. She told him stories of the palace, the gardens, and her life before the kidnapping. He listened carefully, occasionally sharing his own experiences protecting people across the galaxy. They formed a quiet bond built on trust, respect, and shared danger. "I never thought humans could be so brave," Lena said. "You are not just strong, you are smart and kind." Leo looked at her humbled. "Bravery comes in many forms. Sometimes it is running toward danger to protect someone else. Sometimes it is facing fear and finding a solution. Humans have done both many times." Lena nodded thoughtfully. She realized that courage was not about being fearless. It was about acting despite fear, and humans seemed to have an endless ability to do so. As they approached the outer system of Althera, the starfighter's sensors detected more alien drones. Leo frowned. "They have set up another trap near the planet's orbit. We must move carefully." He plotted a course through a dense asteroid field near Althera. The drones chased them, but Leo used his knowledge of the terrain and human ingenuity to evade them. He used gravity wells, narrow gaps, and reflective surfaces to confuse the sensors of the drones. Lena watched in awe. "You are amazing," she whispered. Leo smiled faintly. "I only do what is necessary. And you help too. Your signals helped me track you. We worked together." The sun began to rise over Althera's horizon, casting a soft glow over the planet. The royal palace could be seen in the distance, its tall spires gleaming in the morning light. Lena felt her heart lift. Home was close and her mother was waiting, but danger was not gone. The alien drones were still nearby, and Leo knew they had to be careful until they landed safely. He maneuvered the starfighter with precision, dodging the last of the enemy's attacks. Lena held on tightly, trusting him completely. Finally, they reached the safe orbit of Althera. The alien drones could not follow them past the planet's defense shields. Leo exhaled quietly. "We made it," he said. "We are almost home." Lena looked at the planet below, tears in her eyes. "I cannot wait to see my mother," she whispered. Leo nodded. "Soon, princess, soon." The starfighter descended through the atmosphere, cutting through clouds and gentle winds. The palace came into view, its gardens and fountains bathed in morning light. Queen Mira stood on the balcony, her eyes scanning the sky. When she saw the approaching starfighter, her heart leaped with hope. As the craft landed safely in the royal courtyard, guards rushed forward to ensure everything was secure. Leo opened the cockpit and helped Lena step out. She ran into her mother's arms, and tears of relief and joy fell freely. Queen Mira held her daughter tightly. "Lena, you are safe," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you, Leo. Thank you for bringing her home." Leo nodded, quietly standing back. He had completed his mission, but the adventure was not over. The aliens were still out there, and the galaxy held many dangers. But for now, the princess was safe, and hope had returned to Althera. Lena looked at Leo with gratitude and admiration. "I will never forget what you did for me," she said softly. Leo smiled faintly. "Remember this, princess. Humans are strong because we care, because we think, and because we never give up. Courage and intelligence can overcome even the greatest danger." The sun rose higher over the kingdom, casting light across the gardens and fountains. Birds sang melodies that filled the morning air. Peace had returned, but the story of bravery, courage, and the strength of the human spirit had only just begun. The alien desert planet lay silent under the twin suns, its jagged mountains casting long shadows over the rocky terrain. Leo had returned in stealth, knowing the alien forces would try to recover the princess. This time he had no starfighter. The mission was different. He needed to get inside the heavily guarded compound, rescue Lena again if necessary, and ensure she could be transported safely back to Althera. He crouched behind a boulder, scanning the horizon with his advanced binoculars. From this distance, he could see the alien guards patrolling in shifts, their weapons gleaming in the sunlight. The command center was built into the highest cliff, protected by energy shields and hidden sensors. Any mistake could alert the entire base. Leo adjusted his small backpack and pulled out a compact holographic map. Okay, he muttered to himself. I can do this. I just need to be smart. Meanwhile, Lena was exploring the surrounding desert near the alien outpost. After their initial escape, she had realized that leaving the planet entirely would be impossible without the help of someone like Leo. She moved carefully, hiding behind rocks and using small crevices for cover. Her mind raced with plans. She remembered the panels in the alien base, the patterns and codes. Maybe she could find another way to disrupt their systems. Leo advanced slowly, moving from cover to cover. He avoided open ground, knowing the alien patrols could detect him. Despite the danger, his focus was calm. Years of training had prepared him for moments like this. He knew that human thinking and cleverness could overcome the aliens' advanced technology. Suddenly, a patrol passed close to him. Leo froze, barely breathing. The guards moved slowly, scanning with glowing sensors. Once they were gone, he continued, moving toward a canyon that led directly to the alien command center. Inside the alien facility, Lena had found a hidden maintenance tunnel. It was narrow and dark, but it led close to the energy cores powering the base. She remembered the panels she had seen before and realized that disrupting the energy would weaken the shields. This could give them a chance to escape. Leo watched from above as the princess entered the tunnel. Good thinking, he whispered. He activated a small communicator and sent a signal. Lena's device picked it up and she smiled faintly. She was not alone. The tunnel was filled with the hum of machinery. Lena moved carefully, her steps quiet on the metallic floor. The energy cores glowed with green light, and small wires ran along the walls. She examined the panels and tried to understand the alien technology. She pressed a few buttons carefully, testing what might happen. Suddenly, a small alarm flashed on one of the panels. A weak signal was enough to alert the nearest guards. Lena froze, her heart racing. She had almost been caught. But Leo, watching from above with his drone, quickly deployed a diversion. Small holographic projections of himself appeared, confusing the alien sensors and drawing guards away from Lena. Now, Leo whispered through the communicator. Move quickly. Lena pressed the final sequence on the panel. The energy cores flickered, and the shield protecting the compound's main gate weakened. The aliens noticed immediately and began to mobilize, but Leo had already calculated their response patterns. He activated a small grappling device and scaled the cliff, moving closer to the command center. Inside, Lena ran toward the main door. Guards were rushing to intercept her, but she had anticipated their movement. She used the shadows and small tunnels to her advantage, slipping past them with agility and careful timing. Leo reached the edge of the cliff and observed the main gate. It was heavily guarded, but the weakened shield gave them an opening. He sent a small explosive charge to distract the guards further. The blast was controlled, creating smoke and confusion. Move, Leo said firmly. Lena sprinted toward him and he extended his hand to help her climb. Together they reached the top of the cliff. From there, they had a clear view of the alien command center and the surrounding landscape. The aliens were regrouping quickly. Their energy weapons glowed brightly, ready to fire. Leo studied their positions carefully. He needed to get Lena out safely, and fighting head-on would be dangerous. He relied on strategy, using their weaknesses against them. He activated a series of small drones that projected holographic copies of himself around the command center. The aliens were confused, unsure which was real. Using this distraction, Leo guided Lena toward a narrow canyon that led away from the base. They moved swiftly, but the alien patrols were closing in. Lena's heart pounded, but she followed Leo's instructions without hesitation. She noticed small weaknesses in the alien formations and suggested routes that allowed them to avoid detection. Good thinking, Leo said quietly. You are learning quickly. As they reached the canyon, the alien forces realized the deception. Beams of energy shot past them, narrowly missing rocks and creating explosions that lit up the desert. Leo calculated their timing perfectly, moving between cover points with Lena close behind. Finally, they reached the edge of a cliff that overlooked the desert. Below, a small hovercraft waited, hidden from the alien patrols. Leo guided Lena down a narrow path to the vehicle. She climbed in and he followed, starting the engines silently. The hovercraft glided smoothly over the rocky surface, moving quickly through the canyon. The aliens pursued, firing energy beams, but Leo's skillful driving allowed them to dodge every attack. Lena held on tightly, her mind racing with fear and excitement. After several tense minutes, they reached a hidden cave at the edge of the desert. The hovercraft stopped and Leo turned to Lena. "We are safe for now," he said. "But we need to move carefully until we can leave the planet completely." Lena nodded, her eyes wide. "That was amazing. I never thought we could escape like that." Leo smiled faintly. "Humans survive by thinking, not just by fighting. Courage helps, but intelligence wins battles." They rested briefly in the cave, catching their breath. Lena examined her surroundings, noting small details that might help them later. She realized that even in this hostile environment, humans could adapt and find solutions that aliens might never expect. Leo reviewed their plan for leaving the planet. They needed a spacecraft small enough to avoid detection, but fast enough to outrun the alien ships. Lena helped by analyzing alien patterns she had observed during their time in the base. Together they formulated a route that relied on stealth, speed, and clever use of the terrain. As they prepared to leave, the twin suns of the desert planet began to set. The sky was painted in shades of orange and red, casting long shadows across the rocky surface. The aliens were still searching, but Leo and Lena moved with precision, avoiding the patrols and traps. The hovercraft carried them to a hidden docking area where a small spacecraft waited. Leo checked the engines and systems carefully, ensuring everything was ready for takeoff. Lena watched, impressed by his knowledge and calm under pressure. "Are we ready?" she asked, her voice steady despite the tension. "Yes," Leo replied. "This is our chance. Once we leave, the aliens will have to start over. We just need to stay focused." The spacecraft lifted off smoothly, leaving the desert planet behind. The aliens fired a few last shots, but they were too far to reach the ship. Leo piloted with skill, weaving through narrow canyons and asteroid fields near the planet. Lena held on, feeling a mix of fear and exhilaration. As they traveled further into space, Lena realized something important. Humans were not just strong because of their weapons or technology. They were strong because of their ability to think, adapt, and work together. Leo had shown her that courage and intelligence could overcome even the most dangerous enemies. After hours of careful travel, they reached a safe distance from the alien planet. Leo set a course for Althera, knowing that the journey home would be difficult but possible. Lena looked out at the stars, feeling hope for the first time in days. "We did it," she said quietly. "We survived," Leo nodded. "This is just one step. There will be more challenges, but humans always find a way. That is why we are strong." Lena smiled faintly, understanding the meaning of his words. She had learned that courage, intelligence, and determination could change the outcome of any situation. Humans were capable of great things, and Leo was living proof of that. As the spacecraft moved through the galaxy, the stars shimmered with distant light. The adventure was not over, but Lena felt safe for the first time in days. She trusted Leo completely and knew that together they could face anything. The twin sons of Althera would rise soon, and the princess would be reunited with her mother. But for now she sat quietly beside the human soldier, learning the true meaning of bravery and the power of the human spirit. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of danger and wonder. But with courage, intelligence, and teamwork, humans could shine in the darkest places. Leo and Lena were living proof of that truth, and their journey had only just begun. The small spacecraft glided silently through the void of space. Leo sat at the controls, his eyes scanning every reading on the console. Beside him, Princess Lena watched the stars streak past the windows. After escaping the alien desert planet, they were finally on the path back to Althera, but danger still lingered. The alien forces were relentless, and Leo knew they could not afford to relax. "We should be nearing the edge of the patrol zone soon," Leo said, his voice calm but firm. "Once we pass this sector, the chances of detection will be much lower." Lena nodded, her hands folded in her lap. She had grown more confident in the last few days. She had learned to trust Leo's judgment and to think quickly in dangerous situations. "I am ready for anything," she said quietly, her eyes bright with determination. Leo glanced at her with a faint smile. "Good. That is the mindset that keeps people alive in situations like this. The spacecraft entered a dense field of asteroids. The rocks varied in size, some as small as a pebble and others as large as a mountain. The field was a natural obstacle, perfect for hiding from sensors, but it was also treacherous. Leo's hands moved skillfully over the controls, guiding the ship with precision. "Watch out for that cluster ahead," he said, pointing to a group of fast-moving asteroids. Lena followed his gaze, her heart racing. She had never been this close to space debris before. The ship weaved through the field, narrowly avoiding collisions. Leo's concentration was absolute, but he remained calm. He had faced danger before and knew that panic could be fatal. Lena admired his composure. Every movement was measured, every decision calculated. He was a master of strategy and courage. Suddenly, the sensors beeped. Alien drones appeared ahead, moving swiftly toward them. Leo frowned. "They must have tracked us from the desert planet. We need a plan to get past them without being destroyed." He activated a series of holographic projections around the ship, creating multiple duplicates of the spacecraft. The drones paused, scanning for the real target. Leo took advantage of the moment, pushing the throttle forward and weaving through the asteroids at high speed. The drones followed the holograms, unable to determine the true position of the ship. Lena held on tightly, her heart pounding. "This is amazing," she whispered. "How do you do it?" Leo glanced at her briefly. "Observation, prediction, and adaptation. Humans have an ability to think in ways machines cannot. That is why we survive." The drones continued to chase the projections, giving them a small but critical head start. Leo knew that every second counted. If they could reach the outer atmosphere of Althera, the planet's defense systems would provide protection. Hours passed as they navigated the asteroid field. Lena and Leo spoke quietly, sharing thoughts and ideas. Lena told him stories of the palace, the gardens, and her life before the kidnapping. Leo shared his experiences traveling across the galaxy, protecting those in need. They formed a bond built on trust and respect, strengthened by the dangers they had faced together. As they approached the edge of the asteroid field, the alien drones reappeared, more numerous this time. Leo's jaw tightened. "They are trying to corner us," he said. "We need to use the terrain to our advantage." He guided the ship toward a narrow canyon of asteroids. The drones followed, but the path was too tight for all of them to pass at once. Some collided with the rocks, while others were forced to slow down. Leo seized the opportunity, accelerating through the canyon with Lena holding on tightly. One of the drones fired an energy beam, striking the side of the ship. Sparks flew across the control panel, but the shields held. Lena gasped. "We cannot let them hit us again," she said. Leo nodded. "We will not. Stay focused." Using quick maneuvers and his knowledge of alien technology, Leo led the ship through a series of twists and turns. He calculated the drones' movements and anticipated their attacks, dodging each one with precision. Lena began to understand his methods. She saw that courage was important, but intelligence and strategy were equally vital. Finally, they reached the edge of the asteroid field. The drones had been left behind, unable to follow without risking collision. Leo allowed himself a brief moment of relief. "That should give us a safe path to Althera," he said. Lena looked out at the planet ahead. Its blue oceans and green continents glowed softly under the light of the twin suns. "We are almost home," she whispered, a smile spreading across her face. But the journey was not over. As they approached the planet's orbit, sensors detected a larger alien vessel waiting to intercept them. Its energy shields glowed with power and its weapons were fully armed. Leo frowned. "They have set up a trap near the atmosphere. We need to be careful." He studied the alien ship, noting weaknesses in its structure. "We can use the planet's gravity and the asteroid belt near the orbit to create a diversion," he explained. Lena listened carefully, impressed by his planning. Leo maneuvered the ship close to the asteroid belt. The alien vessel fired, but the rocks absorbed most of the energy beams. He activated a small device that projected multiple holographic duplicates of their spacecraft. The alien ship fired at the illusions, wasting energy, while Leo guided the real ship safely through the belt. Lena held her breath, watching the careful dance between the rocks and the energy beams. She realized that human ingenuity and courage were unmatched. Leo's ability to adapt to every situation, combined with her own observations, allowed them to overcome even the most advanced alien technology. Finally, They emerged from the asteroid belt and entered Althera's outer atmosphere. The planet's defense systems detected the alien ship and its drones, firing precise beams that disabled them quickly. Leo allowed himself a small smile. "We are safe now," he said. Lena looked down at the familiar landscape of her home. The forests, rivers, and palaces stretched out below them. Tears filled her eyes. "I cannot wait to see my mother," she whispered. Leo guided the ship toward the royal palace. Guards on the ground watched the approaching craft, preparing for any situation. Leo touched down smoothly in the courtyard, the engines humming softly as the craft came to a stop. As the doors opened, Lena ran toward her mother. Queen Mira stood with tears in her eyes, and when she saw her daughter, she ran forward and embraced her tightly. "Lena, you are safe," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. "Thank you, Leo. Thank you for bringing her home." Lena clung to her mother, tears of relief and joy flowing freely. She looked over her shoulder at Leo, feeling immense gratitude and admiration. "I will never forget what you did," she said softly. Leo nodded, keeping his expression calm but proud. "Remember this, Princess. Humans survive and succeed because we think, adapt, and act with courage. Bravery is important, but intelligence is what makes us truly strong." Queen Mira held her daughter tightly and then turned to Leo. "Your bravery and wisdom have saved my child. You are a true hero." Leo bowed slightly. "I only did what was necessary. The princess helped me as well." Her courage and cleverness made this possible. Lena smiled at him. She realized that humans were capable of extraordinary things, not just because of technology, but because of courage, intelligence, and determination. Leo had shown her that even in the most dangerous situations, humans could find a way to succeed. The sun rose fully over the kingdom, casting light across the gardens and fountains. Birds with metallic feathers sang melodies that filled the air. Peace had returned, but the story of bravery and the human spirit had only just begun. Lena looked at Leo, a sense of admiration and hope in her eyes. "I hope I can be as brave and smart as you one day," she said quietly. Leo smiled faintly. "You already have the potential. Courage and intelligence exist in all humans, not just soldiers. It is how we use them that matters." The kingdom celebrated the return of the princess, and people from nearby towns came to witness the moment. News spread quickly, telling of the human soldier who had outsmarted the alien forces and saved the princess. Stories of bravery and intelligence inspired many, showing that humans could shine even against the most advanced enemies. Lena stayed close to her mother, feeling safe for the first time in days. She thought of Leo and the lessons she had learned. Courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome even the greatest danger. Humans were capable of extraordinary achievements, and their spirit could inspire hope across the galaxy. Leo prepared to leave the palace. His mission was complete, but he knew that challenges would always exist. Humans faced danger with courage, strategy, and adaptability. That was the strength that allowed them to succeed where others might fail. As Leo's ship disappeared into the sky, Lena waved, a smile on her face. She had witnessed the human spirit firsthand, and would carry the lessons of bravery, intelligence, and perseverance with her forever. The twin suns of Althera shone brightly, and the kingdom looked peaceful once again. But the story of human courage and ingenuity would continue to echo across the galaxy, reminding everyone that even in the darkest moments, hope and strength could shine. The royal palace glowed under the light of the twin suns, its towers and spires shining like polished crystal. The gardens were filled with flowers of every color, and fountains sparkled as water danced in the warm morning air. The people of Althera gathered in the courtyards, celebrating the return of Princess Lena. News of her rescue had spread across the kingdom, and everyone wanted to witness the moment of reunion between mother and daughter. Queen Mira stood on the balcony, holding Lena close. Her eyes were filled with tears of joy and relief. "I cannot believe you are safe," she whispered. Lena smiled, feeling the warmth of her mother's embrace. The events of the past days had tested her courage, but she had survived thanks to Leo and her own determination. From a short distance away, Leo stood quietly. He watched the reunion, his expression calm but his heart full of satisfaction. He had completed his mission, but he did not seek praise or reward. The joy of seeing the princess safe and her mother relieved was enough. Humans were not always loud heroes. Sometimes the greatest strength was in quiet actions and clever thinking. People cheered as Lena waved to them. Her eyes shone with excitement and gratitude. She looked at Leo and whispered, "Thank you for everything." Leo nodded, his eyes meeting hers briefly. "Remember this, Princess. Humans are capable of great courage and cleverness. When we work together, think carefully, and never give up, we can face anything." The palace gates opened, and members of the Royal Council arrived to witness the moment. They praised Leo for his bravery and intelligence. Even high-ranking officials admitted that no human had ever shown such quick thinking and courage in the face of advanced alien technology. Lena stepped forward to address the crowd. Her voice was steady but full of emotion. "I was frightened, but I learned something important. Humans are brave not only because of strength, but because of courage, intelligence, and determination. Leo showed me that courage can shine even in the darkest places. We must never underestimate the power of the human spirit." The crowd listened in awe, inspired by her words. Many whispered among themselves, realizing that human ingenuity and courage were forces to respect, even across the galaxy. Stories of Leo's actions would be told for generations, a symbol of how humans could face impossible challenges and succeed. Queen Mira held Lena's hand and turned to Leo. "You saved more than my daughter," she said softly. "You reminded us all what it means to be brave and wise. Althera will never forget your courage." Leo bowed slightly. "I only did what was necessary. The princess helped too. Her cleverness and courage made the mission possible. Humans survive because we adapt and work together. That is our strength." The people of Althera cheered again. They admired Leo not just for his skill, but for the calm intelligence and determination he had shown. He had faced superior technology and dangerous enemies, yet he had succeeded by thinking carefully, observing patterns, and using strategy rather than brute force. Lena spent the day walking through the gardens with her mother. She told her about the desert planet, the alien base, and how Leo had guided her through every danger. Queen Mira listened attentively, realizing how much her daughter had grown in courage and understanding. Lena had faced fear and acted with intelligence. She had shown that humans could overcome obstacles not only with strength, but with sharp minds and brave hearts. Later, the palace hosted a celebration in honor of the rescue. Music filled the halls, and food from across the kingdom was shared with guests. People spoke of the bravery of humans, marveling at their ability to outthink and outmaneuver powerful enemies. Lena sat quietly, her thoughts returning to Leo. His actions had not only saved her life, but had also taught her important lessons about courage, determination, and intelligence. Leo remained at the edge of the celebration, observing quietly. He did not seek recognition. To him, success was measured by the lives saved and the dangers overcome. He had completed his mission, but he knew that the galaxy would always present new challenges. Humans, with their courage and intelligence, would rise to meet them. As the evening sun cast long shadows over the palace, Lena approached Leo. "I will never forget what you did for me," she said. "You showed me what humans are capable of. Bravery, intelligence, and kindness. Those are qualities I will carry with me forever." Leo nodded. "You have already shown courage and cleverness yourself. Humans survive because we think, we adapt, and we never give up. Remember these lessons. They will serve you well in the future." Queen Mira watched the exchange, feeling immense gratitude. She knew that the human soldier had changed more than her daughter's life. He had shown the kingdom the true strength of humans. Their courage and intelligence were forces that could overcome even the most advanced enemies. The twin suns set, casting the palace in soft golden light. Stars appeared in the sky, glimmering like diamonds. The kingdom of Althera rested peacefully, but its people knew that the galaxy was full of dangers and wonders alike. Humans, with their unique combination of courage, intelligence, and determination, were now remembered as allies whose strength could inspire hope and victory across the stars. Lena sat in the gardens that night, looking at the stars. She thought about the journey, the alien threats, and the cleverness Leo had shown. She realized that courage was not only about facing danger, it was about thinking clearly, acting wisely, and using every resource at one's disposal. Humans had shown her that even in impossible situations, hope and intelligence could triumph. The people of the kingdom spoke of the rescue for days. Stories were told to children, reminding them of the bravery of humans and the cleverness that had saved the princess. Leo's actions became legendary, not because of weapons or power, but because of the sharp mind, careful planning, and the human spirit that refused to give up. Queen Mira spent time with Lena, reflecting on the lessons learned. "You are stronger than I ever imagined," she said. "And the humans have shown us that intelligence and courage together can overcome any challenge." Lena nodded, understanding the depth of her mother's words. The next morning, Leo prepared to leave Althera. He had completed his mission and the galaxy awaited new challenges. He said goodbye to the princess and the queen, his demeanor calm but respectful. Lena smiled at him. "Thank you, Leo. You have shown me what it means to be brave and wise." "I will never forget you," Leo nodded. "Remember this, princess. Courage and intelligence are the greatest tools any human has. Use them wisely and you can overcome anything." He climbed into his spacecraft, the engines humming softly. With a final glance at the kingdom he had helped save, he lifted off into the stars. Lena watched as he disappeared into the sky, feeling gratitude, admiration, and hope. The kingdom of Althera would continue to thrive, strengthened by the lessons of the rescue. Humans had shown that bravery was more than fighting. It was thinking, planning, and acting with intelligence and purpose. Their spirit could shine in even the darkest moments. For Lena, the experience had changed her. She had seen the human soldier face danger with courage, outthink enemies with cleverness, and act selflessly to save lives. She realized that humans were capable of extraordinary achievements because of their intelligence, determination, and moral strength. The people of Althera celebrated for days, honoring the courage that had brought the princess home. But beyond the celebration, the true lesson remained. Humans could inspire hope, overcome impossible challenges, and show the galaxy the power of a determined mind. Princess Lena and Queen Mira stood together in the royal gardens, watching the stars twinkle above. Lena smiled, remembering everything she had learned. "I will carry these lessons with me," she said. "The courage, intelligence, and strength of humans can guide us through any challenge." Queen Mira nodded, feeling pride and hope. The kingdom had witnessed the greatness of humans firsthand, and the story of the rescue would live on for generations. The night passed peacefully over Althera. Stars filled the sky, and the gentle sounds of the palace gardens created a calm atmosphere. Leo traveled through space ready for the next mission, carrying the same courage and intelligence that had saved the princess. His story would inspire many, proving that humans, even against advanced alien forces, could shine through intelligence, bravery, and determination. And so, the galaxy remembered the human soldier who outsmarted the aliens, protected the innocent, and reunited a princess with her mother. Courage and intelligence had triumphed, and the power of the human spirit had been shown for all to see.